Greetings, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Ruben, and I'm here to answer some questions you may have concerning the PTDF scholarship. First, what is PTDF? The PTDF scholarship stands for the Petroleum Technology Development Fund, which is a federal government agency mandated to develop indigenous human capacity, research, and technology for the oil and gas industry. PTDF scholarships are highly competitive and only outstanding candidates are selected. Under the Human Capacity Development of the PTDF scholarship, PTDF has two scholarship schemes, which includes the in-country scholarship scheme and the overseas scholarship scheme, which in other words are terms ISS and OSS respectively. So ISS stands for the in-country scholarship scheme. OSS stands for the overseas scholarship scheme. So the purpose of this video is to discuss questions that you may have concerning the OSS scholarship scheme. The overseas scholarship scheme is currently open and will be closing soon. PTDF through the OSS sends scholars abroad to develop human capacity for the oil and gas industry by sending them to countries like the UK, Germany, France, and Malaysia. And the studies include masters and PhD. Now, the first question I'll be answering is who can apply for the PTDF OSS? If you have a background in engineering, geological sciences, environmental studies, energy studies, and management, then PTDF scholarship is for you. Another question is, what does PTDF scholarship covers? PTDF, PTDF scholarship is a fully funded scholarship that covers your flight ticket, your payment of health insurance, payment of tuition and bench fees where applicable, the provisions of allowances to meet the cost of accommodation and living expenses in your country. Another question is, how do you apply to PTDF scholarship? All applications are through the official website of the PTDF scholarship, which is www.scholarship.ptdf.gov.ng. Read the guidelines on the website before making your application. In order to apply for the PTDF scholarship, you must have completed NYC. People ask, can they apply while they are serving? No, you cannot, because you need your NYC certificates. Some people ask, can they apply because they are in their final year? No, you cannot, because you need your degree certificate or statement of result to start with. Some people ask, oh, they have 2-2 in their results, they have 2-1, they have first class. Yes, you can apply. You can apply with 2-2 minimum with relevant industry experience. And if you ask, what is your chance of getting the scholarship because you have a 2-2? Yes, I've met a number of scholars with 2-2 degree certificates who got the scholarship. So you have a good chance of getting the scholarship. Irrespective of your grade point, go ahead and make your application. Nevertheless, PTDF is highly competitive and only outstanding students are awarded the scholarship. However, I've met a number of 2-2 awardees and they have a good portfolio. So apart from having a 2-2, you should have so many other things that can give you some points. If you have a statement of results, on the day of interview, you might be requested to produce your certificate. However, the scholarship interview team will understand if your school do not give certificates immediately after graduation, so your statement of results can stand in for you. However, if you have graduated for a number of years, you may be asked to produce your certificate. So I'm just going to quickly run through the requirements for master's scholarship. So for master's applicants, you must have a minimum of 2-1 in your first degree or 2-2 with relevant industry experience. You must have completed NYC. You must be computer literate. You must possess 5 credits, including English language and mathematics. You should provide a statement of purpose of maximum 500 words, which will explain the reason for your study, the relevance to the oil and gas industry, and the expected impacts on the national development. Then you must have your national identification number. Again, people ask me, they have been having issues with verifying their NIN on the website. You can try to change the device of which you are using to make the verification. You can change your mode of payments. You pay a token of 500 naira, I think, for the verification of your NIN. So if you're having issues with confirming the payment or not going through, you may want to change the device or change your browser and then change your mode of payment. You may change it from using your ATM card to making or from making transfer to using your ATM card. Then other documents include soft copy of your photograph and local government certificates or state of origin certificates. Now, for the requirements for the PhD candidates, you must have completed NYC, you must be computer literate, you must possess 5 credits, including English and mathematics, you must have a minimum of 2-2 in your first degree and a good postgraduate degree. You must submit a research proposal relevant to the oil and gas industry. A format is on the website for the PhD applicants. A proposal format is on. So you have to prepare your proposal. You must have NIN, which is fully verified. Now, people ask me, I'm currently on a master's degree. Can I apply for the PhD category? No, you need your master's degree certificates. And so, if you can't provide that, you cannot apply for the PhD category. People ask if they would write a test for the Ptdf scholarship. No, you won't write a test. The scholarship selection process is in 2 stages. The first stage, after your application, you will be called for the final stage, which is the interview process. People ask if they can apply because they studied outside Nigeria. Yes, you can apply if you study outside Nigeria. However, if your credentials is not in English language, you would need to transcribe while coming for the interview. If you formally received PTDF scholarship, maybe in the ISS category, the in-country, or in the overseas OSS category, you can apply for a higher category of the scholarship. For instance, if you are a former awardee of masters, either in the ISS or OSS of PTDF, you can apply only for PhD. You cannot apply for masters again. If you are formerly a PhD awardee, you can no longer apply. And if you are currently holding a scholarship, you are not eligible to apply for the PTDF scholarship. Now, people ask which course they can choose for the PTDF scholarship. The list of approved courses are on the application form, and then the list of institutions you can choose from, either in the UK, Germany, France, Malaysia, and Nigeria. The list of institutions are on the website. PTDF have partner institutions in all these countries, over 148 institutions, and a number of courses. However, your course choice must be relevant to the oil and gas industry. And also, your course choice must be related to your previous study. People ask if they can submit multiple applications. No, you cannot submit multiple applications to the PTDF portal. So you have to stick to either applying for the masters or applying for the PhD. You cannot apply for two masters, you cannot apply for two PhDs. Some people say, oh, they are not engineering students. Can they apply? Of course, yes. PTDF sponsor geology sciences, environmental sciences, and management, apart from engineering and management. So go ahead to align your course with the oil and gas industry and make your application. Some ask if they have an advantage if they choose a country. There is no proof that you have an advantage if you choose a country over another. Just make your application stand out. That is what matters. Whichever country you choose in your application. However, the countries are divided into two parts. We have the GFM, which is the Germany, France, Malaysia group, and then we have the UK group. If in your application, if you are choosing UK, you will notice you cannot choose other countries in the two other options. You can only choose UK or true. Whereas if you are choosing Germany, France, Malaysia, you can choose any of the three in no particular order. You can choose one country in all the three if you want. You can choose one course in all the three if you want. And you can choose three different countries in the GFM, three different courses in the options if you want. However, if you are choosing the UK, you can only choose UK universities in the three options. You can choose only one UK university in the three options if you want, only one course in the three options if you want. But you cannot mix UK with the GFM. You cannot choose UK, Germany, France. The system is designed not to allow that. So if you are going to be going to the UK, choosing the UK, you have to stick with just the UK in the three options. While if you're going to be choosing between Germany, France, and Malaysia, you can shuffle between the three countries in no particular order. People ask what is the standard of the schools of the PTDF approved schools. PTDF partners with high ranking schools in the world. You have no cause to worry about the standard of learning and standard of living. They are all good schools with good reputation in research and in teaching. So some people ask if they can apply with HND certificates. I'm sorry, no, you cannot apply with HND certificates. It has to be a degree certificate. Some say they do not have publication. Yes, go ahead and make your application. For the interview and for the final selection, is going to be based on points. However, if you have publication, it's going to score you some points if you're in the PhD category. But it is optional for masters. However, if you have other points, you can score other points in many other categories and option in your portfolio. I, for one, I am an awardee for the master's category and I don't have publication. And I've met many scholars who don't have publication during the application process. Now, to this important question, do you need to get admission before you make your application? No, big no. PTDF does not require you to have admission before making your application. However, if you have your admission, you can put it in the form. But if you don't have, PTDF does not require you to have in the first place. And so the first thing to do is to focus on getting selected for the scholarship. When you get the scholarship, then you can start working on your admission. And people ask, will PTDF take care of the admission? What they mean is, will PTDF apply for them? No, PTDF will not make admissions for you. PTDF will not make any application for you. You have to make admission application yourself after you have been awarded your scholarship. So you are not required to have you are not it's not mandatory for you to have admission. Just go make your application, get selected for the interview, get selected for the scholarship, then you can start looking for admission. And your journey will be more easier. You have no cause to worry. Some people say they don't know anybody in Ptdf. Yes, Ptdf is very, very credible, and they have integrity. You don't need to know anybody. I do not know anybody, and I've met many scholars. All scholars I've met, nobody knows nobody. So go ahead and make your application. Only outstanding candidates will be selected. Meanwhile, the scholarship is highly competitive, but you have no cause to worry. You stand a good chance of winning the scholarship. Some ask, oh, they have applied 2 times, they have not been chosen. Yes, continue to make your application. I met a scholar recently who got the funding on his fourth application. So that means for 4 consecutive years he was applying, and then he finally got it in his fourth. So that means he has built his portfolio in 4 years. He keeps adding feathers to his colors, or colors to his feathers, however you may put it. Some say they are not a member of professional bodies. I will advise you to join professional bodies, a minimum of one, to make your application stand out. For engineering student, for sciences, you can join one. It's good. People ask, when does PTDF scholarship opens yearly? No specific dates, but you can expect PTDF scholarship from the beginning of the year till the year runs out. In 2024, PTDF opened the application in February, but in 2025, PTDF opened the application in April. People ask, how long does PTDF open the application for? Averagely, the application for PTDF scholarship lasts 6 weeks, 5 to 6 weeks. People ask how long they have to wait from the application to receiving invitation for interview. In 2024, PTDF scholarship took 60 days from the closing of the application to the interview. The interview was 2 months from the application closing date. So in 2024, the application closed 21st of March, while the interview began 20th of May 2024 to 24th of May 2024. So if you are making your application now, from the closing date of the application in 2025, you can expect that within 2 months after the application closing date, you should start attending interview. Whereas PTDF is going to send emails to successful applicants that skate through the selection process from the application to the interview stage. So 10 days before the interview, that is 50 days after the application closing date, you should have received your email. This clue is gotten from the statistics and how PTDF operated in 2024. So the interview email got in 50 days after the application closing date. So you may expect that too in 2025. While the interview had 10 days after people received the email for the interview. So you can also expect that in 2024. Just to give you a clue of how long you have to wait from the application to interview. 2 months averagely. And then people ask how long they have to wait from after the interview to receiving awards. of the scholarship. Taking clue again from 2024, it took PTDF 40 days after the interview to start releasing the selected candidates. So people started getting emails in around July, first week of July 2024. That's averagely 40 days after the interview. So you can expect that also in 2025. Meanwhile, the interview held in 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria, and I'll make another video concerning the interview and what you have to do during the interview process and to give you a clue how to scale through the interview process. This video is made of my own idea of what I've experienced and the informations I've gathered from other scholars. So this does not represent PTDF in any way. This is just to help answer some questions that you may have concerning the PTDF scholarship. I look forward to seeing you again in my next video. Please kindly like, subscribe, and turn off the notification bell. Share to many that may need this video might help. Thank you very much for watching.